Hi, I'm Barbara Bruce, and welcome to Get Out, a weekly virtual broadcast where we invite you to grab your friends and family, your car keys, fill up the gas tank, and get out with us somewhere in the White Mountains. We are out today at Paw Prints on Woodland, and if you haven't been here, that could be good, but it's a sad situation usually when you come here, right?
It usually is, yes.
And I'm here, and I'm here with Sydney Tracy, the owner of Paw Prints.
Yes.
And I can tell you've got a good heart because most of us have family members. That's what we call our pets, family members, no longer just dogs or cats.
Right, very dear to the heart.
Very dear to the heart. Well, of course, this is where a crematorium is.
It is.
And many people want to cremate their pets.
They do. It's becoming a very, it's a more common choice when they have to euthanize rather than bury them. Is to cremate, and then they have multiple options after that to decide what they want to do with their pet's remains. So
I love that. I have to tell a quick story, and most people that know me know that I love dogs. I raised St. Bernards for over 35 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh yes, 7 grown ones at all times.
Wow.
So when I got to Arizona, I started adopting the seniors because nobody wants them.
Right,
and they're big.
They are,
They're
yes.
very big. And of course, usually you charge by the pound.
Okay, yes.
Yes, but there were 5 years that I rented, and so I couldn't bury them.
Okay.
And so I chose cremation.
All right.
And so in my house, I have the most lovely curio cabinet.
Yes!
Yes, and on each shelf, there actually is 6, not just 5, but there are 5 beautiful boxes, pine, oak, and I have their names on there, as well as their collar and a toy.
I love it. That's so awesome.
It is awesome.
That's really awesome.
And guess where my other dogs sleep?
Do they sleep by the curio cabinet?
Right by
Yes!
Yes.
It's just a big family. I love it.
And of course, you know, they say that when I die, I want to be cremated, and I'm going like, okay, could we just all be together?
Yes, I've heard that on more than one occasion. It's very common.
It is.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people will come to you, and this is a very special place because you have choices. You don't have to do what I did. You can do something else.
Have choices. There are so many options, and that's what I always want people to be aware of, is that they can come in and they can choose a plethora of things that fit them, that fit their dog, that fit their personality or what they're looking for. And it doesn't have to just be one, here's your box and there you go, that's it, that's all you've got, it's your only choice. There's so many other things we can do. So
one size does not fit all.
No, it does not. Definitely not. As you know,
Yes.
with all of your pets, they're all different. Each one has their own personality, and they deserve to be remembered for their personality.
When people come here, usually, as I said, it's usually a sad occasion.
It usually is, yeah.
And so you have really a similar situation as if someone is going to a funeral home.
It's very similar. I've tried to make it as comforting as possible, you know, without it being, you know, obviously this is an office, but I want it to be more comfortable for people where they feel like they can sit down and it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad about their pet. And, you know, we kind of come in here and sit down, we have a moment, we fill out some paperwork, I answer all their questions. If anyone wants to see the cremation room, they're more than welcome to. And then, of course, we do all of that before we take care of their final care for their pet. So I try to just make it so that it's an easier process for people.
That is comforting. And of course, we're in here, there's a couch, there's chairs, and of course there's pet faces on the wall. Is this the canine wall?
It is, yes. It's our puppy wall.
The puppy wall.
Yeah, we always have a game. We try to figure out, you know, a pug, maybe like a bulldog. We're trying to always figure out what face might fit which dog.
I'm caught in your
It's okay.
your jewelry.
I know it attacks everyone.
Yes.
They come and stand and yeah, but it's okay.
Well, obviously the jewelry wants to speak, so let's talk about this.
The jewelry is my favorite. It's stainless steel, and every piece has a little bit of, you can hold a little bit of ashes in them.
Really?
Yeah, every single one of them. They either twist off or they have a little screw that comes out. And I can always fill the jewelry for people, or they can fill it themselves. We do have some that is specific to pets, like they have paw prints on them. And then we have some that's not, some that are not generic. Like we have this one here that someone chose. Now, the cool thing about the jewelry is there's tons of necklaces. This is only just a little bit, but like she came in and her kitty was like a snow Siamese, and he had these blue eyes like that. So we hunted until we found one that she liked, that she felt like fit his eyes. And then, so I'm always adding new stuff. And then of course, if you're looking for something for a person, you can also do that here too. We have some, you know, like just a heart.
Wow.
This one's like a twisted rectangle. We have some an angel. Ones that are just generic that you can do for humans as well.
That is so nice. And of course, now, is this one that you just would get for a Christmas tree? You don't really put anything in it?
Nope, you don't put anything in it,
Okay.
but we do have the Christmas ornaments if people are looking for something they want to do. I also just like them on the tree, so.
I do too.
And this is this is my mother's cat, Graham, which we actually cremated in 2000. Well, it was actually shortly after we opened. We went ahead and cremated him, so it's in honor of him. And then, I mean, we have lots of stuff. Someone that I work with, there in Sholo, she does some of the epoxy or resin stuff for me.
Really?
She mixes the ashes in with all of her stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So you can mix the ashes in, and she's just here local, and you can do necklaces, keychains, that kind of stuff. And these you can do these are like window hangings. But anyways, yeah, so that's just a little sampling of what you can do as far as having something to carry with you all the time. We also have a bracelet. This one's pretty cool. A couple of the groomers here at Dirty Dogs,
goodness.
they have the bracelet. And you can also put jewelry, you can also put ashes in this particular piece.
Really?
Yeah, and then it just holds a little bit of the bracelet.
Oh, that's sweet. Now, what happens with the rest of the ashes? Does it go to a box?
Yes, so we have a really nice wooden box, and I can show you that we return the ashes in. And then, you know, people can decide from there what they'd like to do. The box just is included with a regular basic cremation. And then of course we have other ones that people can upgrade to if they're looking for something more specific or more customized to them.
I think that's great. And I think we should probably take a look at the crematorium
Which we can,
before
absolutely.
we go through and look at the boxes and the other options.
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
You know, Sydney, this is something that most people would never see.
This is true.
And of course, you and I talked about some people that wanted witness cremation, and
They do.
It's not something I think that I would want, and you discourage it.
I do maybe not recommend it. Of course, if that's what someone wants, we will do that. But I try not to recommend it because it can be really hard to watch, and I would hate for someone to view their pet that way in the end.
It's what
I
you
would
remember.
prefer they would just let me do it because
Yes.
I can distance myself from it, and it's not my pet. You know, and then I can just give them, you know, their ashes in the end. They don't have to be a part of it. But if they want to, we do offer that. It is available if it's something that somebody wants.
And so it's another choice.
It is just another choice.
And of course, it's a little warm in this room.
It is warm, yes. The cremator you can touch it. It won't, I mean, it's hot, but it's self-containing.
Wow.
So you can touch the outside and it won't burn you, but the room does get very hot after several days of cremating. And the cremator itself is sitting at about 600 degrees inside here, so when we open the door, it will be warm. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, it is warm.
It's warm.
600 degrees is hotter
almost
than you
actually
think.
700, yeah.
Really?
And, you know, so we have tools, long bars that we use to, you know, kind of move things around, but, you know, the cremation goes here. We have just one burner in the middle. It takes care of the cremation, and then the smoke and heat, ash, anything that kind of burns off, any odors, it goes down through the back, and then it runs through the secondary chamber before it goes out the stack.
This is amazing. You can close it now.
Yeah, it's hot. It's warm. Did you need a tan? Oh, because sometimes you stand in front of it.
my goodness.
And it's so hot.
You know, when you say 600 degrees, you don't really have an idea of what that feels like until you open that.
No, and when you're burning, you know, like let's say the documents get very, very hot. That chamber sits at about 1,500 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
It's very hot.
Can you take us through the whole procedure of what happens?
Sure. So someone brings their pet. Oftentimes I'll have them back up to the garage door here, just so it's easier to move the pets. Depending on the weight of the pet, if the pet is real heavy, for example, the doggy llama, a 200-pound dog, we would probably put them right onto the loading tray, and then what we would do is we would just go right forward with their cremation. We wouldn't try to store them because the size of the pet is just so hard to work with. Now we do have a walk-in freezer out here that's new, but it's awesome for extra storage in case the cremator were to break down. We can still store the pets here and then go forward with the cremation after a repair. We do have 2 deep freezers. If it's a smaller pet, you know, we'll move them into the deep freeze until we can go forward with their cremation. But a larger pet we would just put right on the loading table and then go right forward with their cremation. So someone brings their pet. We've usually filled out paperwork at this point, but I can kind of show you what that looks like. Our storage is here in this room.
Oh, that's a big room.
Yeah, I mean, so we do have room for other freezers here. So you've got your individuals freezer and then your communal, because we do go forward with that, people who don't want the ashes back. And then what we do is after a cremation, I just store the ashes here with me and then I spread them somewhere in the White Mountains. So people can know that their pets are still in a nice place. So this is our storage room. These are the urns that we use. We always keep good stock of those. And then our transport bags.
This is the standard urn,
yes, this is
but
what
you can have
comes
something
with. Yes, you can order something different. It just slides at the bottom, so you can just put your pet right in there.
And usually it's in
box.
Is it in a
bag.
A plastic bag?
Yes, it goes in a bag. That way, if you ever wanted to change yourself, let's say you found one somewhere else, you wouldn't need me to do it because it's not loose. It's in a bag.
But this is nice.
Yeah, these are really nice boxes. I'm really happy with them. We switched earlier in the year, and I think people are really happy with it.
And of course, the St. Bernards that I have, they're in a much bigger box.
Right. We do go down to a box as big as this one.
Oh my goodness.
So this could maybe even do, I mean, we're talking probably a 250-pound dog could probably fit in here. So we do have storage for that. In the case that we needed something different for a pet that size, we could look through. There are some other options for a pet that's a little bit larger.
One of the things that I appreciate, Sydney, is that you turned the name tags around because we're filming.
We are.
And of course, this looks like bones. Am I correct?
It is, yes.
Tell us about this.
So after a pet goes through a cremation, this is about what's left, usually their skeleton. I say we, I don't know why, but I have a tendency to say that, but it is just me. I go ahead and pull the remains out. We of course separate them into these pans so that they can cool, because again, we talked about how hot the cremator gets. They have to be to a point where I can handle them safely.
And how long is that usually?
You know, it just depends. It depends on the size of the dog. Smaller pets will cool faster, they're easier to handle. Big dogs take a little bit more time to cool down because they're just so hot. But the great thing about the cremation process is that the heat is what makes the bones brittle, so that we can process them down so that they're real fine when people get them back. Our goal is 97% retention rate. So you're getting 97. There is unfortunately some loss between the cremation and the processing, but 97% retention rate. And we always aim for light gray to white ashes.
Really?
Yes, if it's not, and I really try to aim for white, and you'll be able to see some finished ashes here in just a minute, what they look like. But anyways, this is where we store them, let them cool. Obviously you can see the cards stay with the pet, and then they have stainless steel tags. I'm trying to see if I can. So every pet gets a stainless steel tag.
Oh.
This goes in the cremator with them. So the stainless steel tag kind of switches out for the paw tag. The paw tag we use to map out their location in the cremator, and then this stays with them for the duration of the cremation. And people will get this back. So the bags are closed up with the paw tags and the stainless steel tags.
You know what just dawned on me?
What?
There's more than one being cremated at a time.
Yes, now we do what's called a private or an exclusive. And I always try to explain that to people. Now the cremator, as you saw, is fairly big.
It's huge.
It's about 8 feet long. So I will do, if it's larger pets, I'll do 2 together, one in the front and one in the back. If they're real small, I'll do 4 in little quadrants. I don't mix, there's no crossover. Those pets stay in their place. And then, you know, I pull each one out, grab their tag, put it in a pan. You know, I'm real methodical about how I do everything. But you can do an exclusive. If you're not comfortable with your pet being cremated with other pets, which is totally understandable, we do an exclusive cremation. And then that pet is the only pet in the cremator.
It really reminds me of a morgue because everything is, you know, you've got one place to put one body.
Yes.
And then again, I'm sure if cremation is going on, that there probably is more than one at a time because theirs is even bigger.
Right, and it's just more efficient to do it that way. You know, it takes about 3 hours for an average sized dog, about a 40 to 50 pound dog, 3 hours for a cremation.
Oh my goodness.
An hour and a half for a real small dog. If it's a very large dog like your doggy llama, 5 hours easy.
Oh my goodness.
So to do the private cremation is just a little bit more efficient for me. It's a little less costly for people who want to still go forward with the cremation. And then the exclusive is a little bit more, but we can absolutely do that if that's something that people want.
I have to ask you this, what kind of electric bill do you have?
You know, the electric bill's not bad, and we run on natural gas.
Really?
So our gas bill is not bad either. This machine is very, very efficient. So it's really manageable.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have some really great equipment. And like I said, my grandfather, he's here, he helps me with a lot of things. And then my uncle has a mechanic shop as well, so he takes care of a lot of the mechanical issues that we have. But we have a lot of good people that have really helped us get off the ground, and it's been really awesome.
And how did you get into this?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Yeah, so he has this industrial park here, and this building was empty, and it was just driving him crazy. And so he asked me about it. I was just a stay-at-home mom. I have 2 boys, a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And he said, what do you think about doing pet cremation? And I told him, you know, I could run it for you. And before I even knew it, he'd ordered the pet cremator. And we were diving in head first. And we built the grooming stations because this building is about 3,000 square feet. It's just huge. We just don't need that much space. So Amber and Jess came in with Dirty Dogs Grooming, and they're really fantastic. So if you're looking for a dog grooming business, they're really awesome.
They groom my dogs.
Yes, they do. And I've met Bob Marley before. I have not met the doggy llama though. But anyways, so we just jumped right in, and the first time I saw a pet crematorium, I was like, I'm not sure I can do this. It does take some distancing to keep yourself from feeling for the dogs, you know, because I love dogs.
And you have a dog.
I do.
Yes.
I have a dog and a cat and a hamster and
oh my goodness,
whatever else my children bring inside from the outside. And but you know what? I really, really love it so much. I love that people trust me with their pets, that they have confidence in me, and I love returning the pets to them. Because something else that we do when someone brings a private cremation to us is a paw print and a nose print.
Oh.
And those are just included with the cremation. And being able to return those to people and kind of give them that closure, they have their pet back, is just so fulfilling.
It matters.
Yeah, I love it.
And of course, we're talking about the processor, and I thought it would be bigger, but I guess this is pretty big.
This is pretty big. This will fit, I've done a horse before for someone. It was a foal, very sickly. But as long as it will fit in the cremator, I'm willing to do pretty much anything. So I've done a pig before. I would do goats, and a small horse, as long as it fits in the cremator. So the horse was, like I said, real sickly. It only weighed about 90 pounds, but it had a huge skeleton. Because you think, the interesting thing about cremating is you can tell a lot from the bones of the pets. This particular horse, her bones were almost white. And I know this sounds kind of funny, but her ashes were beautiful because they were just so white and so clean. So whatever ailment that horse had, it was not terminal because it wasn't in her bones. Her bones were very clean. You can tell when you cremate a pet that maybe has cancer, that was really, really old. You can see the osteoporosis, you can see the calcium buildup, you can see all of those things in the remains. But her whole skeleton fit in here, so you can fit a pretty decent sized pet in the processor. And unfortunately, we do have to process the remains, but that's what gives them back so fine and just really, really nice. So unfortunately, that is something that we do have to do, part of the cremation process, but it makes for some really nice remains. So.
Well, I have to say this. I know that I wanted to bring my mother's remains back. I wanted them.
Yeah.
And my sister agreed that I should have them. And so, of course, they were in a box when we got them, not a pretty box. And then I got a great urn that I really was happy with. But I took it to a local funeral home, and what they did is, yes, I had them do it because I was afraid that I would lose some of the ashes. And they were in a plastic bag like we talked about.
Right.
But as you mentioned, you know, they were dark colored, you know, they were a gray color. So I guess this is kind of like forensics.
It is a little bit. I mean, I have put remains back in the cremator because I was unhappy with how they came out. If I feel like they're too dark, I don't like that. I like them to be as white as I can get them, and so I have put remains back in the cremator to lighten them up.
Is there a reason to have it white?
I'm trying to pick the wording. The longer they have in the cremator, the whiter they are.
Really?
So if you're getting them back and they're really dark, or they've even got a little bit of black in them, they really needed more time to be done correctly. So the whiter they are, the more confidence you can have in the overall cremation process.
Sydney, now that we've left the processor, we've come over here and we've talked about the color. This is really white, so this is remains. These are ready to go into a box.
Yep, I just need to put them in a box. You know, they're really fine. They're light gray to white. This is how they should be. When you're getting your pet remains back, this is what they should be like. And like I said, they're in this bag. Now I use the same size bag. So if some of these are going into a small urn, sometimes I'll cut the top off if there's just a lot of excess bag. But I like to use the same size because it fits all the pets that we have. And then you can see here where we've used the paw tag to close off the bag, and then those stainless steel tags are on there. So this is what it's going to look like when you open those urns.
Did they train you to do this?
Amazingly not.
Really?
Yeah, I went to another pet crematorium, and you know, everyone does their own thing. It was a very steep learning curve for me because we had no idea what we were doing. But I was able to get some pointers for him, and I do a lot of things the same that he did. You know, he uses these bags. Now, I have seen some other bags though, like that I've thought about. Someone brought me some remains, and we did a blown glass piece for them. So we had to open their bag to get a little bit of the remains out, and I can show you those when we go back to the office. But their bag was sealed on both sides. Like they had a sealer, and it was sealed, and it was like that bag was the perfect size for that box. There was no excess bag. You know, everyone does everything differently. You kind of have to do what works. I love the stainless steel tags and the paw tags. And then these are the bags that I use now. I may change these in the future. But for now, this is what's worked for us, and people seem to be happy with it. You know, so if you wanted to change out your remains, you definitely could do that because they are bagged.
This is where I really wanted to come because I want us to end up here.
Yes.
There's so many people that have no idea what to do.
Right.
You know? And I can tell you that for my own mother, I looked forever to find the right and perfect
to find
urn.
the right one.
Now, tell me about some of these choices.
Okay, so these, obviously, we saw these in the
oh, and little.
Yeah, so you know, those are our regular cremation urns. Now, these are just a basic wooden box, but they're a little different color, and you can do it with this, the paw prints on them, the vinyl, which is really cool. And these are a little bit less expensive. You know, if somebody's looking for something additional, but they don't have a lot, those are a good way to go because they're not as expensive. So those ones are really great. We do have some that are specific to cats. Now, I have sold another one that I don't have featured here that I'd really like to get. That's a porcelain kitty that sits or lays down. So
this
we do
is
have,
really nice.
Yeah,
really
and
nice.
the ashes go inside, and then it sits on a little base, and then it has a plaque. And then this one, now you guys I know probably can't see this one. This one is a real similar to this one. So these are brass urns, but one of them is teal, has this finish on it. This one's just brass. They do have the paw prints, the lid unscrews, but you can do your own customized saying on here, which is really great. A lot of people order these urns. These are probably our most popular.
Now, do you do this for them? They take it somewhere because I actually had to go to an engraver to get mine.
Oh, really?
Yes.
This one actually, when we order it, we just tell them what they want engraved.
Right.
And then they engrave it and then they mail it. It takes about a week, but then they comment and they're really fantastic. And
That's
they're just
fast.
right here. Yes. And they're just right here in the US.
Really?
So yes, all the company, I try to work, like the jewelry company is based out of Florida.
little bitty.
Yes. So this one is one of those resin ones that you can mix the ashes in. And she just makes this here locally. So you could do something like this, and there's tons of colors you can choose from.
Oh my goodness.
So if you had a little bird or, you know, something like that, you could do something like that.
Oh, and thank you for bringing that up, because we don't think about birds. And, you know,
No.
I've had a bird and they live forever.
They do. I did an African gray for a gal, and that was really awesome. She said it lasts longer than her marriage. So she really wanted that bird.
Oh my
cremated.
goodness.
She was really fantastic.
All of these, what is
Now
this?
these are cool. These come from a gentleman in Snowflake. He makes these locally.
Really?
Yeah, like this one is an elm tree. These take a little bit more time. I don't have as many right now. I've sold quite a few. These ones are aspen.
Wow.
But yeah, anyways, Don Gardner, he's in Snowflake. He makes these for me. And so you can get those here. Now I've had people get these for humans. I had someone come in and get one. And then I had somebody order, she was a gal that I'd worked with before. She contacted me and said, I'd like one of these for my brothers. And then I sent it to her. I just mailed it to her. So I ship as well. You know, if somebody moves, and I can do that as well. These are photo urns, which are really cool. I just had a gal order one of these.
Love this.
She said she was going to change out the picture for the holidays. She has like pictures of her dog at Christmas and Halloween and Easter, and so that was kind of cool. We can do nameplates on any of the urns. So like if you wanted one of our regular urns, the nameplates are $15, and we can just order them, and then you can have a nameplate for your box.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
so obviously somebody does these. Is this local as well?
Yes, so same person. So it's actually a mother and son.
Wow.
And he's actually been working for me. He's been working on boxes. He's slowly getting better. He's only 16 years old.
Really?
And he does he does these for me. And again, this is the epoxy with the ashes in it. Now he did this by hand, but now he has a laser engraver.
Oh my goodness.
So I told him he needs to make me a box that has the laser engraved name, but people can order these as well, and they're just right in Sholo, and they're really awesome. And so he makes those for me. But yeah, I mean, and this is just a small sampling. You can see here, I don't have one on display, but you can do figurines.
Well, these are little figurines.
They are, and so you kind of have to imagine, you know, if it was a cat, the figurine
Yes.
just sits on top of the box.
Now see, that's what I've done on every single one of mine.
Yes,
I love that.
and they
Yes.
have hundreds of choices for dogs, so we can try to get as close as we can to the coloring of your pet. And so when you come in and we sit down and we fill out paperwork, that's when we can really sit down. Now I don't have a glass piece to show. I haven't purchased one yet to put on display, but if you can see them on my Facebook page, people who've purchased them. What they do is if you'd like a blown glass piece, we work with a company in Austin, Texas. They send me a kit. I send them a little bit of ashes, and we send it off to the artist wherever they are here in the US. I've worked with some in Massachusetts, I've worked with some in California, Oregon. We send them off, and they hand blow the ashes into a glass piece. And I'm sorry I don't have one here to show you, but those are amazing. They're just so incredible. So here you get this glass piece. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks, but you can do that as well. And then you've got like a paperweight or something you can put on your bookshelf or your desk, and that's just one more thing that we can do to help memorialize your pet for you.
It is, and I see the bag over there.
Yeah, now the bag is a little bit different. The bag we had to begin with because it holds huge pets.
Oh
but
my
if you wanted
goodness.
something, and it says something about the Rainbow Bridge, until
yes.
we meet again at the Rainbow Bridge, you know, you can do something like this too. You can do these vinyl bags. The other thing that I've seen, now I don't know about this, but sometimes some pet crematoriums will put the bag of the ashes in one of these vinyl bags, and it goes inside the urn so that they're like in a nice bag. We can do that too. I mean,
It's lovely. This
we
is
can
velvet.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we can really do whatever your heart desires. If you have something really specific that you want, we can hunt for it until we find it. So
I know this has been a real education for a lot of people. Many people might not want to do this, but for those that love their pets and want to keep them,
Yes.
like me,
yes.
you know, it touches your heart because our pets are family these days. So thank you so much for having this.
Thank you.
Tell us where you're located so that if anybody wants to come over,
Yeah.
and they need to come and make an appointment or call and make an appointment.
Yeah, I don't have set hours because I just never know what's going to be happening, and I always want to make sure I'm here to meet someone. And since it's just me and I do have a family, now I will drop everything though to come and meet you as long as you just call ahead and say, hey, I'm going to euthanize my pet on this day at this time, and I'll just meet him here. Or or someone calls me in the morning, you know, my pet just passed away at home, can I bring him to you? More than happy to meet you all. I just need a little bit of a heads up. So we're right here in Lakeside. We have a really nice facility. Now we are in an industrial park, so sometimes people have a little bit of a tricky time finding us. But you know, our website, pawprintsonwoodland.com, you can see our urns, you can read about us, you can tour the facility, which you're seeing now.
Yes.
But you can also, I'm also starting a blog, which is just kind of a new thing, but if anyone's struggling with any portion of the pet loss, I deal with it a lot, and I've had a lot of experiences, and I've gotten to where I just want to share those with people to kind of help them make the best decision that they can at that time when their pet passes away. So you can check that out. You can check out some of our pet memorials. Like if I've cremated a pet for somebody and they want to share their pet story, they can do that on our website. You just email it to me, and then I can post it there for people to be able to read. You can also do frequently asked questions. Maybe you don't know, you know, now that they've watched this, they're going to have quite the education. But for someone who doesn't know, there's frequently asked questions there. But yeah, we're right here. You can call us anytime. I stop answering my phone about 9 o'clock, but I will answer my phone on Saturdays and Sundays. I will even answer my phone on holidays. So you just have to give us a call and let us know your situation, and we'll do everything we can to help. Our address is 727 North Woodland Road, Building F. Again, it's inside the industrial park, just right here in Lakeside, and you can call us anytime at 928-242-4291.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.